Top of the morning, everyone. My name is Tshidi and I'm back with another video. Today's video is top 5 mistakes candidates make in job interviews. But I've been in enough interviews to be able to know that there's certain mistakes that candidates make that can always be avoided. So I'm going to take you through some of these things. I'll give you what the problem is. I'll then give you what the solution is or how best to actually deal with that. So number one is lack of preparation. It's about researching the company online. It's about understanding what they're doing, what industries they come in. It's about understanding their challenges. It's about understanding who their competitors are and how the role fits into their larger goals. Like, what is it that you think this role is going to do for this particular company? Now, if you're not prepared specifically for this, most of the time when your managers ask you questions, you're going to struggle quite a lot. The pro tip that we always say is always try and tailor your answers to reflect the company's values and how your skills can address some of these values or some of these specific needs. Now, if you know what challenges the company is dealing with, every time you're answering a question, it's always easier to sometimes remember some of the challenges that you might have had in the previous company that were slightly closer to what this company is dealing with at the moment. So it's very, very important that whenever you actually answering this question, because you've done enough research about the company, you've gone through their LinkedIn, you've gone through their financial records and all the information, and you know exactly what they're struggling with, you can be able to make sure that you tailor that particular answer to that particular company and the issues that they've got. The second most important thing is poor communication skills. Now, poor communication skills can be done or can be assumed to be based on sometimes lack of preparation or lack of practice, where some people don't do enough practice. This doesn't mean that we're talking about how you speak, whether you don't speak English well, or you don't speak German well, or you don't speak French well. It also involves listening. Never answer questions that you think the manager wants to hear. Answer questions that they're asking you. So some of the candidates, for example, come into an interview, and because they've prepared what they wanted to say in the speech that they're going to say, whenever they hear a question, they answer what they think the manager wants to hear. And they say all the right things with the assumption that that's exactly what the manager is looking for. Some candidates focus too much on what they want to say, and they don't listen to what the real question is. Now, the pro tip is practice active listening. Try and make sure that you listen to the person. Now, there's an easier way of practicing active listening is speak to your friend. Tell them to tell you a story about themselves. Any story. It could be anything that they want to share with you. And for whatever period of time they're telling you that story, just listen. Don't respond, don't say anything. And at the end of that, whether they take 5 minutes or 10 minutes, then summarize what they're saying and ask questions based on exactly what they're saying. That's exactly how you practice. So make sure that you practice active listening. Listen to what the question is, answer exactly what the question is asking you, and give examples of where you think you've actually been able to deal with that scenario, but do not answer what you think the people want to hear. Just answer exactly what the question is actually asking. Number 3, negative attitude of criticizing previous employers. Now, a lot of managers are always wary or always scared of employees that come in, and the first thing that they do is they trash the previous company. Doesn't matter how hard that company was. It doesn't matter how things ended up in your previous company or your previous work experience with that particular employer. Coming into a company and then trashing your previous employer never looks good. Whether you're trashing your manager because you were either dismissed or anything like that, it never looks good. Always avoid having this negative feedback that you're giving about your previous company or your manager, regardless of the experience that you had at your last job. An interview is not a place to air your grievances. Remember that. This is not a chance for you to talk about all the things that you wish you could talk to anybody else, because it raises red flags to your professionalism and can make the interview question your ability to handle a workplace conflict. So avoid these type of things. Now, the pro tip is focus on the positive aspects of your career. Even if it was negative, there's always certain things that you might have learned. If asked about the challenges, frame them as a learning experience. Don't just frame them as, no, this was the challenge, and no, the manager just didn't understand what they were doing. They were just maybe hired too early for that job. That was horrible. Number 4, not asking questions at the end of the interview. When you don't ask questions, it seems that you're not interested or engaged in that particular role. Prepare a few thoughtful questions. Now, as you guys remember, I did a video, I think 2 weeks ago, that literally deals with specifically this, where it says these are the top 5 questions that you can ask at the end of every job interview. Now, that video gives you a rough idea of what can you ask to make sure that you get more information to prepare for the next job interview. Now, the pro tip for this one is asking insightful questions not only shows that you're interested in this particular role, but it also helps assess if the company is the right fit for you. One of the things that people forget is that as much as the company is interviewing you, you're also interviewing the company. So questions about what are the challenges that this team is currently facing at the moment? What does good performance look like? Those are some of the questions that allow you to understand if that company is ready for your kind of skills and for your kind of capability, as well as your commitment to being able to deliver on that particular company. The last one is showcasing to show your value is one of those most unfortunate things that normally happens to every candidate. In one of the other videos that I've done, there's a video that I speak about how to answer questions using the STAR method of answering. Now, the STAR method is following these processes. It talks about situation, the task, the action, as well as the results. Now, you need to articulate your skills based on that. You need to be able to showcase how you experience based on what the situation was, how you experience based on what task you had to now perform to deal with that situation, and what actions you then had to take, and what were the final results. And remember, the results do not have to always be positive, but the results are the results nonetheless. And it could have been results where maybe the company canned the project, but you've learned quite a lot and you're able to implement that into the next project. So it's very, very important that you always think about these things. So it's important for us as a pro tip to say, whenever you answer any questions or whenever you go to a job interview, try and practice the STAR methodology. Use the situation. What is the situation? What is the task? What is the action? And what is the result at the end of that? Top of the morning once again. See you in the next video. Peace.